panther as a goodie, you've got the tiger as a baddie, you've got the vultures who are kind of a goodie, kind of a baddie. They're the beetles that punch them, so they're kind of good anyway. Or you've got the little mermaid, you've got the shark's the bad guy, and then you've got the stingrays, you've got the moray eels, you've got all these fish, you've got Snow White, deer, birds, all these types of things are all good, whereas crows, vultures are nasty and evil. So when we think about the heroes of this, we think about dogs, we think about lions, we think about hippos, we think about bears. Not really the best picture for a good bear, is it? And then we think of horses as well. Personally, I'm absolutely petrified of horses. And on the villain side, we have snakes. Ooh. We have spiders. I'm sorry if you're really scared of spiders, but I thought that was the cutest spider picture I'm going to find. And then we think of crocodiles. We think of piranhas. And we think of sharks. Right. Sharks killed 8 people last year, should we say? Give or take. Horses killed over, I think it was over 2,000 people in the UK last year. But who here knows someone who has a horse or has a horse themselves? There you go. Who wants to hear a funny story about a horse? Remember the last time I said about a wobbegong shark and you all loved it? I'm going to tell you about a horse. And it actually involves my dad. So I know it's true. Oh, microphone. Before I was born, my dad actually loved horses. And my mum and dad had 7 horses. So as a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, you can imagine me looking up at a horse like this. But when my dad was younger, he absolutely loved naughty horses. And he went to a horse show, I think it was the Cheshire Show, and he found this lady, and she had a horse, and she was having real trouble with this horse. She was like pulling this horse, and the horse was like rearing up and doing all this. And he went, "Are you okay there? You know, you look like you're having a bit of trouble." And she went, "I can't cope, he's caused over £2,000 car damage, he's naughty, he's this." And my dad went, "Oh, can I ride him?" Because my dad was weird like that. So the lady went, "Yeah, if you can get him to chill out, then that'd be grand." So my dad jumped on the back of this horse, and you know, bareback, no saddle or anything like that. And the horse reared up, and he pulled himself in like this, thinking, you know, 'cause that's what you're supposed to do. And then the horse went down, and before he had a chance to right himself ready again, the horse reared up and flipped over on its back, pushing my dad underneath him. And my dad, yeah, I know, so people going, "Oof." I said to my dad, "What did it feel like?" He went, "Well, it felt like I was dead." And I said, "What happened?" And he went, "Well," he says, he swears to God, to this day, the horse stood up and went, got him. Don't know how true that is, but that's what my dad tells me, you know, as dads do to their little kids as well. But yeah, they do have some character, we're terrified of them. I go to a horse looks at me like, "Dare. Hippos, as I mentioned before, killed over 2,000 people. And snakes. I do love snakes, I think they're absolutely fantastic. They are not innocent, same as any animal. Any animal out there can kill you, or could bite you, or could cause injury. But to be perfectly honest, there are animals out there that are far worse than sharks, than crocodiles. Piranhas, they're pretty useless in terms of killing people. But they're not, a lot of the animals that we put in the villain category should actually be put in the hero category. And a lot of animals that are in this category, you put in there. You're more actually likely to be killed by a dog than you are to be killed by a shark. And I know, I'm sorry if you have a dog. I have dogs as well. I have 13 of them. Okay? So they're chihuahuas, they're rats, they're not proper dogs. But you're more likely to be killed by a dog than you are to be killed by a shark. So it does go to show. Right. So things do need to change when it comes down to conserving shark species. And the public, as I mentioned earlier, that is changing. It's just not happening fast enough. Now, the reason why it's not happening fast enough is we're killing upwards of 250 million sharks a year. Now, unfortunately, sharks just can't handle that. And we need laws and regulations to move faster. We need the public perception to change quicker. Now, this lovely gentleman, may he rest in peace forever. Who knows who he is? Rob Stewart. Yeah, there's a few people. There's a young lady up there top there. Like this. Unfortunately, Rob Stewart is the gentleman who made a film called Sharkwater, and unfortunately he did pass away this year, making Sharkwater 2. I am going to show you a clip from Sharkwater, as you might have seen before, in a few moments. But yeah, unfortunately he did pass away this year. But he actually did an incredible thing by bringing shark conservation and the plight of sharks forward to people. Now, when I was 14, I watched that film for the first time. I watched it with my brother. My brother doesn't care about sharks. He fell asleep about 10 minutes in. But I had no idea that sharks were that much in trouble. And at the end of it, it said, in the amount of time it took for you to watch this film, 150,000 sharks have been killed. And I just went, cried my eyes out, I had no idea what to do, ran down to my nan, I went, Nan, what can I do? And my nan went, dunno. A couple of years later, I'm stood up here in front of you talking about sharks. But just doing something like this, talking to you guys about sharks, giving you guys, I know you guys know about sharks, which is a great thing, by the way, but talking to you guys about sharks, you'll go tell your friend, I learned this the other day about sharks. And your friends might go, that's really, really bad, that is, we need to tell more people. And eventually this image that sharks are not nasty animals and that they need protecting will pass around the world. And it is getting there fast, it's just not doing it fast enough, so it just needs to speed up a little bit. So ecotourism is probably the best weapon we have for shark conservation. It is fantastic. It's amazing what can happen when you see a person go in the water, scared of sharks, and they come out with a smile from ear to ear like Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas. It is an amazing thing to see. Although, strangely enough, last year I did have a qualified diver who was scared of sharks. She went diving in our shark tank, came out and she was still scared of sharks. But you can't change everyone, but it'd be great if you can change most people. But just to give you an idea of where these are, the top two are Tiger Beach in the Bahamas and Bimini. This is Isla Mujeres in Mexico, where it has the world's largest concentration of whale sharks in the world. A few years ago I saw a photo at the dive show in Birmingham, and they showed a photo of whale sharks from a plane. And the guy went, in this photo right here, in this one photograph, there is 98% of the Atlantic population of whale sharks. One photograph, and that's at Isla Mujeres. So if you want your dreams come true, swimming with whale sharks, go to Mexico, because you'll soon see them. And down here is Isla Guadalupe in Mexico, and there you can go see some of the biggest white sharks in the world. That is where Deep Blue was seen. Who's seen the video of Deep Blue? Thunderbird 2 with teeth. She hasn't unfortunately been seen since 2012, but one of the guys I met in Africa has seen her quite a few times. So yeah, just thought I'd point that out to you. Now, when I'm talking about an image changing and something changing, just think about the things we've changed as humanity. Just take a second to think. Things we've changed in humanity that we didn't agree with. So a very good example, and I'm sorry if it's controversial, the slave trade. Didn't agree with it, it got changed. Racism, wasn't agreed with, it got changed. Because enough people got behind the idea that racism was a bad idea, and it got changed. Whaling, not completely stopped, but we're getting there. Okay. Now, unfortunately, we've all heard about Japan going down and killing whales down in the Southern Ocean. They were planning apparently to go back this year and carry on. I'm not sure if they've gone through with that, but that's what last time I heard they were planning on doing. But it is now apparently illegal to go down and hunt whales in the Southern Ocean. And you might have heard about this. This was back in 2013. The shark cull in Australia, Western Australia. It did go ahead. They aimed to kill great whites, and they killed only tiger sharks. And there were a few other species, but the biggest shark they killed was tiger sharks. They didn't actually kill any great whites. The biggest shark they killed was a 6-metre tiger shark. They shot her 8 times in the head to kill her. Yeah. So it was a very badly regulated cull. It wasn't organised properly. The guy who organised it was a bit of a douche, in my opinion. And he is planning on doing it again. But public pressure is kind of stopping him from doing that. So let's hope that that continues. So does anyone know who said this?
Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss, yeah. Dr. Seuss is the Lorax. He actually said, unless you're someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better, it's not. And people like you who care, that is one huge leap in the right direction to protecting sharks and protecting anything. And that's why I'm talking about Blue Planet a little bit, guys, not too much. When it comes down to working at Blue Planet Aquarium, or working in an aquarium, or even just doing what you guys are doing, talking to the general public, showing people things. Because you care, people will know that you care, and people will usually know that what you're telling them is the truth. You're not going to lie to them about what you're trying to tell them. And the reason why this is a good thing is, especially if you tell children, for example, they'll remember that. A lot of adults will go, oh my God, that's really, really sad, and go, and then never think of it again. But children are amazing because they lock it in, and they remember everything you tell them. You can speak to a child 2 years later and they'll remember exactly what you said. And that's why, if you catch the generation now, sorry, I lost the word there completely. If you speak to the generation now which are younger, they'll help protect the world that they're growing into in the future as well. I spoke to people at the aquarium about children who take the image in, and there's a lot of adults that come in who are so locked in their ways that they don't want to change that. I'm not saying that they wouldn't change, I'm just saying that they would need a little bit more persuasion, but this saying is very true for all people that care about conservation, about animals, about sharks. So I'm just going to show you this. This is the Maldives again, same as the lemon shark. I just hope that it doesn't skip forward a slide. And this is of Hanifaru Bay, which is a UNESCO Biosphere Nature Reserve. And this is where you get the world's largest concentration of manta rays. And I went on a crap day, and we had 35 manta rays around us at one time. 5 days later, they had 150. 3 weeks later, they had 1,870. A few months back, one of the islands took drone footage there. They had over 2,000 manta rays and a whale shark. So just look at this video. And they don't care. They know they're bigger than you, they come close. So the biggest ray I saw was wingspan of maybe 4 meters, 4.5 meters, quite a big animal. So the reason why I show you this is if you take someone to a place like this that's on the other side of the world, the middle of nowhere, and you show them an area of the world where there's giants still roaming around in our oceans today, it can really impact on people. And there were so many people who got out of the water from this trip and were like blown away from seeing manta rays in the ocean. It's really quite an incredible place. Now they move with just enough speed to make you think you can catch them, and just enough speed to go like that to you. So you can't catch them. So I'm just going to skip ahead, go on to the next. I'm not going to skip ahead, but just show you guys some beautiful manta rays there. So this little thing here is just to say that one person can make a difference. It's something I read on the internet. By the way, guys, it's a bit preachy at the second, but it will change in a minute, I promise. It's a story I read. It's about a little boy chucking starfish into the ocean, and an old man says, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm chucking starfish in the ocean. They're all going to die." And he goes, "There's thousands of starfish. You're not going to make a difference." And the kid just bent down, picked up a starfish, chucked it in the sea, and went, "Made a difference for that one." Just goes to show one person can make a difference for something. Now, this is exact footage of me waking up hungover with a bacon butty in front of me. So, Houston, we have a problem. Sharks face many problems in their lifetime naturally. So, well, so we'll scoot too forward then. So, sharks face a broken home from the start. Most sharks eat each other in the womb, to give you an idea of just how broken their home actually is. When they're born, if they don't swim away, their mother eats them. So they have to go straight away. They're on their own from the word get-go. And this is why sharks are pretty incredible, because they're designed from before they're born. And I'll explain more about that in a second as well. They're independent from the beginning, predation from other sharks, fish, eels, crabs, everything out there in the ocean is out to kill a shark, because they know that if it gets bigger, it could eat them. So everything out in the ocean is trying to kill sharks. So the sharks are designed to get through that, which is quite an incredible thing. Food shortages. I'm going to come back to a little bit about food shortages later on. But unfortunately, with us fishing out our oceans, this is causing trouble for sharks. And a lot of the animals that sharks compete with, again, I'll explain more about that in a few moments for you. But without food, the sharks can't survive. And also, with human development, it's causing more issues for those sharks as well. Now, who here has heard the myth sharks can't get cancer? Stick your hands in the air. Not many of you. Okay, that's fine. People in Japan or Southeast Asia always go, sharks can't get cancer. That's why eating them is a good thing. Really? Sharks can get cancer. And there is a great white shark with a cancer tumour on its face. This is believed to have happened because of the mercury and the toxins we're now putting in the ocean. This is now making sharks more susceptible to diseases, conditions, all that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, it's now not all peachy for them. More problems. So sharks unfortunately have to deal with the pollution, as I mentioned just a second ago, fishing for their food, fishing for the sharks, such as shark finning and bycatch. A lot of sharks that are caught are not caught because they're out to get sharks. They're out to get tuna, they're out to get sardine, herring, stuff like that. And sharks are unfortunately just caught in the net along with the thing they're trying to catch. And this is a massive waste because unfortunately they're just killing sharks for no reason whatsoever. They're not even being used. And a lot of sharks that are caught as bycatch are just chucked back into the ocean. Who here's ever been on the Prince Madoc fishing? There you go. You've seen the amount of lesser spotted cat sharks that get caught on those trips. Granted, a lot of them go back and they are hard as nails. They do just swim back down to the bottom and carry on as they would do. But it does go to show that they're not, or there's not as many, they are quite at risk of being caught just through bycatch, not even just for them being Habitat destruction, Bimini, who has heard of Bimini? In the Bahamas, Bimini Shark Lab. That is one of the best areas to see baby lemon sharks. Lemon sharks. A few years back, a tycoon fellow was going to build a golf course and country club right on top of where the baby lemon sharks were being nursed, and they lost because it's a nature reserve, and who crazy person would allow someone to do that? But he didn't win, so thankful. Now, sharks and fish breed with a very different method. Fish lay thousands, millions, hundreds of thousands of eggs in the hope that one will survive. Sharks lay eggs, will breed a different method. They use the K strategy. Yes, up there, sorry. Sharks breed with the K strategy, so they lay 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, or in the case of a whale shark, 300 young, in the hope that most, if not all, will survive. And that's because as soon as they're born, they are given all the skills, all the strength as an adult, just in miniature form. And so they do essentially look like a miniature version of their adults. Has anyone ever seen a picture or footage of a baby whale shark? Who here seen that? If you haven't, you have to search later on. It's one of the greatest things you've ever seen in your entire life. Imagine a Happy Meal-sized whale shark. That is how big they are, and they move with little speeds. Like, they're really, really quite cute. Sharks also lay eggs. They don't give birth to just live young, like sand tigers, which is the best example, but the sand tigers actually eat each other in the womb before they're born. So you'll only ever get twins, maybe triplets. And if you do get triplets, it's because two babies in the same womb know they're from the same father. So they team up and eat all their brothers and sisters together, which is quite menacing, but super cool as well. So very few number of young, but they're all very well developed. This is footage, sharks mating. Just thought I'd throw this in, because I thought you'd find it quite cool. I'm not going to lie, I was telling two divers, so we might have to cancel the dive in case we do have sharks mating. It was our mating season, but I didn't tell them that. And straight away I saw one of our females get nutted by a male. Next thing I know, they're mating. That's how sharks flirt. There's nothing like that. So there's no voice, because all you're doing here in the background is me swearing at the top of my voice, because I was having such a great time. But this is Alfie and Wilma, if I remember right. Yeah, Alfie and Wilma mating, you know where that is, in the shipwreck above our main shark tank. Not really the most graceful method of mating, is it? So the male's job is to flick the female on her back and hold her down, mate with her, and then leave her. That's it. And it didn't really go to plan, because where he landed was right on top of a wooden shipwreck. The female didn't find it very comfortable, and tail slapped him out the way, essentially. So off she pops, and off he pops as well. So I just thought I'd show you that, because I thought it was quite a cool piece of footage. So what is shark finning? So sharks, unfortunately, shark finning is cutting the fins off a live shark and dispensing the body at sea. The sharks are usually still alive for this process, they're not killed, like you have many other forms of hunting where you kill the animal first, then remove the product. A lot of sharks are killed, the fins cut off, chucked back, completely alive. It's cool and inhumane. I can't imagine any other method of hunting and gathering on our planet where the animal's still alive as you take bits off them, apart from shark finning. So we need fins for shark fin soup. Shark fins add nothing but texture, so you could use anything for texture in shark fin soup, but literally the flavour of the soup isn't even shark, it's chicken or pork, and it's just there to add a little something for people to tuck into. One little bowl of shark fin soup is worth like $100 in the US, it's something crazy like that. So it's expensive for what it is. And I've spoken to somebody who said he's a shark activist, and he said he would eat shark fin soup if it was put in front of him, so that he could see what it was all about. Now, unfortunately, the only way you can stop shark finning is to stop buying it. If you continue to buy it, there's the demand there for it, people will continue to buy it off restaurants and off people, so you need to stop buying it altogether in order for the shark fin to stop. Has anyone ever heard of Wild Aid? So I'm asking you guys a lot of questions today.
Wild what?
Wild Aid. No? Okay. There's a guy called Sean Henricks. He took some footage of a tawny nurse shark lying on a piece of coral, still alive, fins off, blood pouring out of it. He then gave that piece of footage to Wild Aid, and there was a Southeast Asian football player, I think it was, who sat in a makeup restaurant with an aquarium around it, with a load of people around him, and he looked into a shark tank, which at this point was the footage of the nurse shark dying on a piece of coral. And he said, if you could see how shark fin soup was made, would you still buy it? After that advert went on TV in Southeast Asia, shark fin soup demand dropped by 70%. Okay? So it is crazy what one thing can do for a species, which is pretty crazy. So let's show you some images and some footage. I am really sorry for the goriness of these pictures. If you do not want to see them, I will not judge it. So that's a hammerhead being fins, one of its pectoral fins being took off. It's a blue shark. So that animal's still alive. It's a mako that you find around the UK as well. And I don't know exactly what type it is. It looks more like a mako or a salmon shark, for example.